But the writer says, look, this is already like real. You have come to Mount Zion, to the city of the living God, the heavenly Jerusalem, and to innumerable angels in festal gathering. Okay, there's your cloud of witnesses right there. Say a little bit about Hebrews 2 here. If you want more detail on this, we just did an episode of this on my podcast, episode 340, on the cloud of witnesses passage. But if you think about what's going on in the cloud of witnesses passage, let's go to Hebrews 12. That's Hebrews 2. Let's go to Hebrews 12 first, just so in case the passage is not familiar to you. The writer says, therefore, since we are surrounded by so great a cloud of witnesses, let us also lay aside every weight and the sin which clings so closely, and let us run with endurance the race that is set before us, looking unto Jesus, the founder and perfecter of our faith, who for the joy that was set before him endured the cross, despising shame, and is seated at the right hand of the throne of God. Now, what we typically get, if you hear sermons on this, is sermons about the sin that's weighing us down, and that's appropriate. It's a problem. But the cloud of witnesses is a big deal. I'm going to suggest something to you. And again, if you want more detail, you go listen to the podcast episode. This is Hebrews 12. I'm going to suggest that you understand and interpret Hebrews 12:1, the cloud of witnesses, in light of a few verses later in Hebrews 12. Let's read them. Hebrews 12:22 and 23, which says, but you have come to Mount Zion. Okay, he's writing to Hebrews scattered around the world. They're not at Mount Zion. Again, this is theological, okay? You have come to Mount Zion and to the city of the living God, the heavenly Jerusalem. That's certainly not there yet. But Paul says, you've come. You've come to this place. If we click on the verb, we see that it's perfect. In Greek, a perfect tense verb is something that has happened in the past with ongoing results. If you think Paul wrote this, it's fine. A lot of people do, but we don't know for sure. But the writer says, look, this is already like real. You have come to Mount Zion, to the city of the living God, the heavenly Jerusalem, and to innumerable angels in festal gathering. Okay, there's your cloud of witnesses right there. Yes, it includes the people of Hebrews 11. Why? Because in the family of God at the end of days, it includes both supernatural beings, members of the heavenly host who are loyal to God, and glorified humans who are made like the angels. They're the holy ones, okay? In other words, it's going to look like it was supposed to look all the way back in Eden. There's both groups there. So we're not excluding Hebrews 11, but we're including Hebrews 12, 22, and 23 in the way we read Hebrews 12:1. The assembly of the firstborn who are enrolled in heaven. The assembly, boy, that language sounds familiar. The assembly. The assembly. If we click on that, it's ekklesia. It's the word for church. It's also the word back in Hebrews 2 when Jesus introduces us to God and God to us in Hebrews 2. I will tell of your name, Jesus says to God, I will tell of your name to my brothers. Okay, brothers and sisters, brethren is a neutral term. In the midst of the congregation, in the midst of the council. And by the way, it's ekklesia. In the Septuagint, what's Paul thinking of here? Or the writer of Hebrews, whoever that is. In the Septuagint, let's go to, see if I can remember this, pluck this out of my head. In Psalm 88:6, now the numbering of the Septuagint is different than the Hebrew Bible. You'll notice here on the right-hand side, I have these two linked. I have the Septuagint linked with the traditional Hebrew text in the ESV. This is the famous divine council passage in Psalm 89 about let the heavens praise your wonders, your faithfulness in the assembly of the holy ones. Ooh, there's that holy ones word again. For who in the skies can be compared to the Lord? Who among the heavenly beings, the B'nai Elim, is like the Lord, a God greatly to be feared in the council of his holy ones? Well, guess what? If you look it up in the Greek Septuagint, look at what we get. The heavens will confess your wondrous things, O Lord, your truth in the assembly, the ekklesia of the holy ones. For who in the clouds will be likened to the Lord? Who will be likened to the Lord among the sons of God? What I'm suggesting to you is the cloud of witnesses is another way of expressing the heavenly realm. Read Hebrews 12:1 in light of Hebrews 12:22 and 23 and Hebrews 2, and you'll see the picture. Okay, this is us being members of the family council of God, both now and not, it's already not yet, now and in the future. Again, the setting for all of it is the throne room. The link, let me see here. I basically summarized all that. So, one more idea here. Believers in the divine council in the New Testament. Revelation 4 and 5, I often get asked this question about, hey, that really sounds like a heavenly throne room meeting. It sounds like a divine council meeting. And it is. And it's not just Mike saying it. This is the Word Biblical Commentary written by Aune, A-U-N-E. It's a very well-known, famous commentary. And he writes this of Revelation 4 and 5, which underneath the altar, who's there? It's the spirits of believers who are martyred. Okay, they're members. Okay, they're in the throne room. They're in the same place. The focus of the throne vision is God enthroned in his heavenly court, surrounded by a variety of angelic beings or lesser deities who function as courtiers. All such descriptions of God enthroned in the midst of his heavenly court are based upon the ancient conceptions of the divine council or assembly found in Mesopotamia, Ugarit, and Phoenicia, as well as in Israel. And the rest of it by virtue of taking this course. Again, I just want you to see that there are other scholars who pick up on this. They pick up on the connections. They pick up on the context.